Shivani Rao. The title of this talk is Learning to be Relevant. I'm from the Learning Relevance group at Indian Learning. And relevance is generally an odd name in Indian Learning where we talk about recommendation sciences. And learning to be relevant also is that because learning means you're trying to stay relevant in the industry with your skills. So I thought it was a good word phrase. I'm presenting on behalf of my team, which is 4 to 5 engineers out here in the Bay Area, and about 4 engineers that work on research sciences in India. We also have some product partners in New York, as well as this one. So the work I've presented has taken place over the past 1.5 years. So Linear Learning is basically content acquired from Lina.com. Lina.com, if you don't know, is dummies, HTML for dummies kind of online software. The goal of Lina.com was to teach software to people. It was a company that was built out of a studio, and it was subscription-based business. We bought it in 2015 because LinkedIn's mission is to provide economic opportunity for everyone. And since LinkedIn's core is jobs and skills, anything that helps members learn skills is adding value to LinkedIn's member base, and so on and so forth. The team was formed in November 2015. But the Linear Learning application itself on phone as well as on desktop, as well as for enterprises, was launched in fall of 2016. So there was a 9-month period which I'll talk about shortly. So the acquisition of Linear.com fit in nicely with Linear's mission, providing economic opportunity for everyone while learning. Like I said, the team was formed in November 2015, and the product was not launched until September 2016. So for a long period of time, we don't have activity data. So I will definitely spend some time on CodeStar recommendations, where we made recommendations to learners and members without knowing anything about their activity or preferences. And then we move into the warm start recommendation, which is post-launch. I'll also talk about a couple of other initiatives, like modeling for targeting marketing campaigns, as well as scaling the infrastructure itself. And last but not least, I'll talk a little bit about ongoing projects and more. So the cold start model. The cold start model is where we didn't have any member activity data. This is an overall infrastructure of any learning or any recommendations that we have. We have member data, which talks about their skills and time and so on and so forth. We have course data that we acquired from Lina.com, as well as the course content. We throw it into a black box and outcomes of member to course recommendations, which we put into an online store. And this is served through the REST service to front end. It might seem like a REST service, purely software a piece of software, but it actually is an online re-ranker, as we will see later. The offline recommendations are also used to power our weekly engagement emails that are sent out. And the online recommendation or the online endpoint serves people who actually end up on one of the channels, maybe on the desktop channel, the flagship feed channel, or the self profile or profile views, and so on and so forth. So now we'll briefly talk about how members and courses are mapped to the space. So member and courses, without any other information, need to be mapped to a common space where they can be matched. And skills is sort of the exchange currencies, like the dollar bill. Anything that can be mapped to skill space can then be matched in that space. So members and courses are mapped to recommendations, because you could have Excel 2013 and Excel 2015 both line up one after the other in the ranking, and you don't want recommendations to be all about Excel, for example. Now I'll briefly talk about how members are mapped to the skill space. So members come when they sign up with LinkedIn.com as a member, they provide skills that are on their profiles, like a professional resume. And there's a standardization team that focuses on ensuring that these skills actually make sense and they are standardized to a certain canonical form. For example, C programming and C are the same thing. But only 30% of the members actually have explicit skills on the profile. So when it's available, it's great. But when it's not available, we use LinkedIn's economic graph to infer these skills. So as long as you have a title in industry, you're somewhere in the network, and you have a cohort of people that have similar title in industry, and we can infer what are the distinct skills for this cohort, and we use that to map a member to that cohort, sort of like a Mac of smoothing if they don't have any skills available in that profile. When we use the strategy, our coverage went from 30% to 60%, it almost doubled, and also improved efficiency and so on and so forth. So now that talking about member to skill mapping, we briefly talk about course to skill mapping. Just like member to skill, that was 30% coverage, but this was even worse. The course to skill mapping that we got was 2% coverage. So only 2% of the skills were mapped by the courses, because this was by human annotators when we started off. And this is usually when someone creates a course, they tag with a couple of skills, and they need to expand those skills because 2% of skills is really small amount. So this was sort of a two-stage supervised pipeline that we built in-house. The course data as well as the skill-to-skill mapping data which we have, I'll talk about that down the road as well, but it basically is what skills are similar to what skills. We use all of this information and we treat the taxonomist or the human annotator. Can we reserve the questions till the end? More than my time.
This is super quick.
Yeah.
When you talk about a skill, is it binary or real value?
They're
like, do I have
like
presence
a
absence?
skill dictionary of 50,000 skills.
But is it like, so like I either have a skill or I don't?
You either have that skill or you don't.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have the taxonomists who provide skills, and those are like positive labels, right? And they just want to do. You can add a bunch of random negatives to sort of increase you make the data set a little bit balanced. Of course, adding random negatives means we don't have some noise in the data set. So we have a denoising step where the human annotators look at the recommendations that come out of this pipeline, denoise the labels, and then now those are treated as negative labels and we do a second round. And this can be made into an iterative process as well over time. The more human resources we get to tap in. When we use this approach, our recall, while making the same recall, our coverage increased from 2% to 17%. And CS0 is a very original human taxonomy. So you can see only 2% of the skills were covered, we went up 17%. This of course gave some boost in our impressions as well as feed CTR. Now I will also briefly talk about a feature that came up way before even we launched, was something called as context annotation. So we learned that when you provide a context or a reason for a recommendation, the perceived relevance goes up. So we did an experiment in email offline flows where we sent recommendations, weekly recommendations to members about, hey, the courses are available in Lynda.com. This was pre-launch. And the minute we provided a recommendation or a reason why, because of your typing, because of your skill, trending on Lynda, and things like that, it doubled the send to open rate. So we were like, okay, maybe context annotations make sense. And not only that, in this particular case, the landing page is organized by courses that have the same context. So they kind of help with navigation. They also help with understanding. In this case, we have some editor-picked recommendations, but we also have other context annotations that you can't see here are trending your title because of your skill, because you watched, which is a collaborative filtering model, short relevant, and so on and so forth. And we'll see later on how this context annotations help in our supervised pipeline as well. Before I end on the cold start models, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of other applications of cold start models. So this is the jobs detail page. So when you land on a jobs page to see, to apply for the job, on the right hand side you can see a course recommendation that will help you, be better at an interview for that job. And so this also came through our sort of affinity model where jobs are mapped to skills, courses are mapped to skills, and they have a common currency. We also have enterprise learners that do not have an Indian member ID. So we don't have any information about them at all except for some basic idea like what their title is, what their industry is. And again, we can use this information to map them to skills because we know the title and the industry and then we post recommendations and stuff. So all of this is happening now. It's September, 9 months have gone by, we're almost close to launch. And we want to provide this additional feature to members that when they sign up with Blooming Learning, they can follow a bunch of skills they like and get course recommendations based on what skills they like. And so this is where our online re-ranker comes into play. Remember that little Wesley service? That would have been just a piece of software, but now it turns into an online re-ranker. So the first thing it does is it figures out what treatment that should be served to this member, so that allows us to do A/B testing and get the course recommendations for that member for that module ID. But in this case, it also allows us to fetch the skills that the member followed through an online store, like a skills followed store or something, and then hit the search index to get the course recommendations relevant to that skill, treating skill as a text, and then blending those recommendations together. And we can do a bunch of other things like online impressions counting and so on and so forth within this online. Alright, so we have done our basic launch. We have done all the work we want to do to launch. Now it's almost September, October, and now we can start building our warm start models. So there are two types of warm start models that I talk about. One is the supervised model, where you actually rank member course pair and predict whether this is relevant or not. The other one is collaborative filtering based on actual watch behavior. So the supervised offline model training looks more or less like this. We have member data, course data, we have some activity data on feed, You have feature generation pipeline, you add some random negatives to the actual, you subsample the round negatives and add some random negatives, you train a model, and that's that. The features that we use here are mostly course features, like the author, the category, the skills, the course type. We also have a bunch of information from the members, whether they're job seekers or not. So we have another team that figures out whether somebody is actively searching for jobs on LinkedIn. We have subscriptions, the kind of subscriptions they have, what skills, what demography, and so on and so forth. We also have interaction features. That means what is common between a member and a course. It could be the skill overlap, which was used as an affinity model, is now used as a feature. We also have engagement courses similar to that course, and so on and so forth. So this is iterative process, as I'll show later when we talk about experimental review. The scoring pipeline, however, was not as straightforward. We cannot rank all the courses for a given member, so we actually come up with an approach of candidate tools. So the annotations that we were using, training your title, training your industry or whatever, they become good reasons to rank a particular course for a given member, as opposed to ranking everything. I wouldn't rank piano for somebody who's an engineer who hasn't shown any intent to watch a piano-based course. Alright, so this is one type of one-shot model. The second one is, of course, collaborative filtering. You can use all kind of feed engagement data, feed click data, as well as watch data. But in this case, we only use watch data. And the red line is the affinity model, which is just the basic skill overlap based model, and the other collaborative filtering model. We also noticed a very high improvement in our engagement, and I'll talk about that soon. So before I move on to some of the other scaling challenges, I want to briefly talk about the experimental findings of supervised model. The very first supervised model gave us a 10% improvement over the academic model, and with each iteration we got a bigger and bigger win. Even with self-profile, we also did something that we experimented with one supervised model and another channel and saw how much of an improvement we get in terms of engagement. And sometimes it worked, and sometimes it didn't. For example, supervised model that's trained only on the activity on a self-profile, which is profile views page, did well only for subscribers. But the supervised model that was trained on feed data did well on the non-subscribers. So these are the experiments that we did and learned things along the way. We also played with the collaborative filtering model that gave us an 8.4 increase in engagement among the subscribers. But the supervised model that was trained only on the LinkedIn Learning landing page gave us improvement as well. But then there was an 8.3% reduction in activity when we sent the same model to subscribers. We also saw an 8% lift in our one-day clicks when we used collaborative filtering model and so on and so forth. A couple of other initiatives. This is targeting campaigns. We were able to, again, source all of this activity data to predict whether a member is likely to engage with LinkedIn Learning, subscribe with LinkedIn Learning, and so on and so forth. And we call it the knowledge seeker score. So again, another modeling initiative. So I cannot end any infrastructure talk without talking about scaling recommendations. This is our standard recommendation pipeline. I've talked about it before. This was an online Nestle endpoint, which would get the model treatment for a given member, get the course recommendations, and then return it to the front end. But the problem with this is that each model is about 500 million members with 10,000 courses, or at least 200 courses of recommendations per member to read. There are at least 5 channels. In each channel, we have 3 or 4 different models we're experimenting with, so the scalability of this is really huge. So the solution we came up with is an offline API infrastructure. So we know that a model is not served to all the members. A model is only served to some members in that treatment. So maybe 5% of members, 20% of members. So you don't need to score the model for everybody. And maybe if you do, you don't need to push that to the Voldemort store. We also have the same model may be served to different members in different treatment. So we came up with an offline A/B testing based filtering. So that means we only score the courses that actually are going to be probably going to be shown to the member. Not filter by courses, filter by the model treatment. So we only rank for that model for those members for which will be. I think I'm kind of running out of my time, so I'm just going to give a very brief idea on what the current project is on microcontent. So one of the things we learned is that people are engaging more and more on mobile phones, and not just with LinkedIn Learning, as well as in general. There's been more and more engagement on the phone as opposed to a desktop. People are, I think with smartphones, people's attention spans also reducing, right? Nobody can sit at a computer for 90 minutes at a time. There's also impetus towards just-in-time learning versus just-in-case learning. So instead of spending a whole semester on learning something, we want to learn something on demand. And we also ran a Daily Bites campaign where we curated bite-sized videos, self-contained videos, and then provided a carousel in the LinkedIn Learning landing page, and that improved the engagement by 10.4%. And so we have moved towards video understanding as well as identifying video. I'll skip over this part. We have developed a video level video to skill model to understand what skills each video brings to the table, and we can then again make a member to video based recommendation activity model to start with. Also, we have started our work on identifying micro content, which means identifying standalone content that are bite-sized, that are self-contained, and insightful. And I have this details in the slides, but I want to leave some time for questions. So, before I end it, I want to have some thought about online learning in general. 3.5 million jobs apparently will go unfilled or will have a skills gap with the way the market is changing, with the way we have new jobs coming up. By 2025, majority of our skills will be outdated, and in my own life I've seen that. C++ was something I learned when I was in school and no longer care about it. So online learning is really important, and that's why this workshop as well as this sort of gathering where there's energy put into this direction is really important as well. In the future we may have completely online degrees. It's already started with Udacity coming with nano degrees and so on and so forth. But I think the real question is how is hiring practices going to change? That's when the real change will happen with respect to online learning, where people are not hired just because they have a formal training, but because they're self-taught. And that's it. If you have any questions, you can.